Welcome to Sports Talk Weekly. My name is Shaun Gariseb. Yet another episode. Before we go into anything, I just want to ask you to subscribe and follow our pages on social media. Sports Talk Weekly, that is the handle. Follow us, subscribe, and share our content. It's the coolest, it's number one sports podcast in the country. On today's episode, as you can see, we are having Awilo Stephanus, the top goal scorer for the just ended Debmarine Premiership season with 20 goals, 15 assists, and a great whole lot of work ethic. Awilo Stephanus, I watched the very first game when the season opener, and then I watched the very last game also. I saw him after having scored about 2 goals, having created more than 2 goals. I still saw him chasing the ball in the 65th minute and tackling. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here, Awilo.
Yeah, thanks, Aspila, for having me. I think since you said it's a first podcast show in the country, I think it's a good initiative. We must have more of these kind of shows.
Awilo, just before we get into it, I just want to say something. You are from Diseide. I don't know if you are from Marintal or if you are from D12, but there's one thing about Diseide. Many people say Seide Magfriede, but when it comes to many things, natural resources, beautiful women, music, football talent. When we speak of football talent, we are talking Ambrosius 5, Steve Stephanus, we are talking Teacher Arampi, Malan van der Westhuizen, Mabos Fries, Norris Korasep, Alu Hummel, Dumisa Janse, George Hummel, Klaas Blomflower, Rino, Brian Bandam, my friend Lolito Lolo Korasep, Meraya Swarboy, Lollipop Abasep, it is Pule Bostander and Lucky Bostander. I did great appreciation threads on them. These are the names that we are talking about, and Awilo Stephanus is one of those people who also came from the south. Many players came from the south, but these names that I just mentioned are one of the greatest names in Namibian football. Awilo, in 2007, 8, 9 there, before you joined, I think you joined Black Africa in 2009. You played for FedEx. It's a team from the south. Just take us back before you in your introduction, your beginning, when you were at FedEx and you had interest from Black Africa. How was that? When you coming to Black Africa, these names, many of these are your relatives.
Yes.
How was the pressure? Tell us the beginning. Where did it all start? Where did you know that you had it in you?
I think when I first started, I didn't start at FedEx. There was a second division called Real Fighters FC, a team in the south as well, from Keetmas. When we started, you asked whether I'm from Marintal or Keetmas. I'm from Keetmas, but born in Marintal, so I'm actually from the 12, like you said. Like I said, I started with Real Fighters FC, and then after a season, I moved to FedEx. But that time I was like 16 years of age, so they were still the first season, the first leg of FedEx. I was still playing for Real Fighters, and then there was a friendly game between Fighters and FedEx FC in the pre-season before the second leg started, and then that's where the coach of FedEx that time saw me. And then he recruited me to FedEx. So I played the second round of the Premiership where FedEx was playing in. I think it was the 2007-8 season. So I played with FedEx in the Namibian Premiership years. And that time I was 17 years of age when I made my debut in the Namibian Premier League, which many people doesn't know. And then from there, I came in 2009 for the Newspaper Cup, which was held here in Windhoek. And then that's where Ali Akan saw me. And I think it was in August, before the league just kicked off, I just got a call from Ali, and where he said, no, we are having a pre-season tournament. It was a FNB tournament.
That's it, Black Africa?
Yeah, at Black Africa, yes. It was like for the teams that were sponsored by FNB at the time. I think it was Pirates, African Stars, 11 Arrows, and Oshakati City. So we played that tournament, but the first 2 games or so I didn't play, but the 3rd and 4th place game on a Sunday, that's the game I started for Black Africa there. So that's the game I scored 2 goals, and then from there Ali said, no, this is a promising youngster. It's the brother of our legend Lolo Korasep at the time. So they asked me whether I can sign for them. So I told them I was grade 12 at the time. So they said, so I told them, no, unfortunately I can't. So because I have to go finish my school in Keetmas. But they said, no, we can sign you, and then weekends you can come play for us. So I was like, okay, if that's what you can, because I will not be training with the team. So they said, no, you can go train with any team that side, and then weekends you can come.
So you had enough ability.
Yes, yes. Basically, yes. So I went back to school that same week. Trained with just with the school team that side, and on a Friday after school, I took a bus to Windhoek, and then the Saturday I think BA played the opening match. That opening match, I also scored the opening goal. So that's where Ali said, no, this is a promising star. I think we have to take care of him. But the pressure was there, coming from where I started to a team like Black Africa. The names that you named, Lucky Bostander, Lolo Gariseb, Ambrosius 5, Steve. Okay, that's my father because they were from the Pirate side. I think from the BA side, even a player that many doesn't know is Doc Yosop. Doc is an uncle of mine. So he also played for BA. So the pressure was there for me to step up and then show that I can also be labeled as one of the greatest stars from the south.
Indeed, so there are many players, even on the women's side. Coleman, Jackie Herze also comes from that neck of wood.
Yes.
But Awilo, just in the first season, you were already player of the season, or in the first 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
When I got the first award, it was the Players' Player of the season. I think that was the 2012-13 season. Yeah, I think it was 2 seasons after I joined Black Africa. But then I got the second award the next year. But then that's the year I took both the Players' Player and the Player of the Season award.
So at that time you were at Black Africa, you were very young. There was wide interest. As far as I know, there was interest from Bloemfontein Celtic in South Africa, Maritzburg United as well. South African football is well suited to you. From the off, we could see even till today the flair you possess, the skill, the pace. You can walk into any team. Why do you think this move did not materialize at that stage?
Honestly, you only mentioned Bloemfontein and Maritzburg. In 2012, there was a invite from Sundowns as well, and I think I was 21 at the time. I don't know what was wrong, or I think maybe the email system at Black Africa or something. Because the time we received the email, it was like a month after they invited me to come for trial. So when we tried to reach out to them, they said no. Unfortunately, the coach that wanted me, I think it was Johan Neskens or something. It was Neskens, yes. They said no. Unfortunately, the coach that wanted me is no more at the team. So that move didn't materialize. And then the next year, 2013, that was when Bloemfontein, the owner of Bloemfontein, Jimmy or something was his name.
Jimmy Augusto.
Yeah, Jimmy Augusto. Yeah, there was a national team game that we played against Tanzania here in Windhoek. So he came, and then he saw me at the game, and then he was like, okay, this is a promising star. Let's invite him. I think Clinton Larson was also here, the coach at the time. So they invited me, and then I was there. So I passed the trials, everything, the medicals and stuff, and then it was only up to the 2 teams for the negotiations for the transfer fees and stuff. So I think, because we were 2 at the time, me and Denzel Housep. So the money that Black Africa asked and the money they were willing to pay for us, something was wrong there, because they offered 600,000 for the 2 players and Black Africa wanted 1 million. Or that's what I understood at the time.
Players.
Yeah, for both players. So that's why that move didn't materialize. And then the next year, 2014, it was the Maritzburg move again. I went there for trials. Steve Kompela said, no, I'm happy with the player. Just the 2 teams to negotiate again. And then that same year again, Black Africa asked for 400,000 just for me, and then they refused to pay for that 400,000. So that's how my moves to South Africa didn't materialize. It's not like I went there and failed all my moves. Yes. I went there, I passed, but then the money issues were the ones that was in my way.
Awilo, you also had stints in Thailand and Finland. In Thailand, you had Krabi FC, if I'm not mistaken. In Finland, you had AC Kajani. How was that experience? Yeah, how was just if you say there's a youngsters in Namibia, all in the corners of Namibia, in the south there, and what advice would you give them with the experience you took away from overseas and you're abroad in Zambia? What would you tell them what to do and what not to do?
Yeah, the thing that I've always preached on as a player that came from, I didn't have everything on a silver platter. The thing that I must preach on, like for the youngsters out there, is discipline, especially off the field. That's one thing that most of the youngsters nowadays are lacking. As much as we as youngsters also had a few discipline issues back in the day, we knew what we wanted. We wanted to achieve everything in the country, which was winning the league, taking those awards, playing for the national team. But nowadays, whenever a boy is talented, he already thinks in his head, no, when the nation is talking about him, it's a walk in the park for him. But like I said, it's the off the field discipline is the most important factor to make it out there, especially when you are still here in the country. Especially if you are disciplined, I think everything is possible for any youngster to make it out there. Because football, people think football is difficult outside. When it comes to Europe or Asia or South Africa, even for that matter, football is not difficult. Because if you see the talent that we have in Namibia, the work ethic that we have in Namibia, it's just a matter of good discipline on and off the field, and then I think most of the players can still make it.
I just wanted to ask you on something. You speak highly of negotiations between clubs. Do you think the role of the agent for players, especially young players, is very important? Especially look when you are granted with an opportunity to say go to Sundowns, for example, or Bloemfontein, and you sitting with the talent, you sitting with the will to want to go to PSL, because it's like a stepping stone.
Yes.
PSL or Zambia, and this opportunity presents itself, and it falls. It does not go through as a result of negotiation. Is that a thing? Is that the role of agents or those people that are responsible for taking care of your career in that? Is it very necessary? What would you say about that as a player, and as one who had experiences and who might have missed opportunities because of that?
Because of that, I think I don't want to say football bosses were greedy back in the day, but agents also play a major role in such instances, because agents are the ones that negotiate, and then they are promising clubs on the other side that we can maybe get this player for this amount, and then the other team and the foreign team or the teams in South Africa or wherever, they play around the budget that they have for this player that doesn't even have a profile, and then that player that doesn't have a profile on the international market is highly labeled here as in the local teams. So that was the instance of myself. I was highly valued at Black Africa, but then on the other side they were like, okay, this boy is just 21 years old. He has not even 5 or how many caps. So I think teams here, local teams must understand. This is a one-time opportunity for players to go out, especially when there's a good interest from a team. Maybe they can put something in the negotiations or in the clauses where they say maybe if you sell the player from your team to another team, maybe a 5% or what can come back to us, instead of just asking for a high or a big amount when the player has to go that side.
Because it's almost as if they're saying, if I don't benefit from him now, I might not benefit.
Yes,
that's
I
a
think
good point.
That's the issue.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. Awilo, obviously, you just won the league with Sarandu, African Stars. There's a fantastic project going on in there. We had the privilege of speaking with one of your senior officials, Salom Hay. He was talking passionately about the project. When you guys won the league, you guys had your chairman aloft. You were throwing him up, and then in one interview he was saying, we are definitely going to conquer Africa. So the stars will be shining on the continent. I just want to understand from a player perspective, and you being obviously such a key player, how do you look at the chances of your team? How prepared are you psychologically? You know how it is in Africa, through your experiences with the national team, having played abroad as well. How prepared is the team? How is the depth and quality enough, do you think, or is it what's your take?
Honestly, what I would advise as an experienced player that has been there before, the chairman and his staff or the backroom staff, what I can advise them as a experienced players, we need to, there are certain areas in the team when you need to strengthen up. Even my own position, I think if there must be a player that must give me a run for my money. In every position we must have 2 to 3 players that can compete for that position, so that we can make the squad a bit stronger. Because when you go to Africa, it's not going to be easy. It's the same as basically it's national level. It's like Namibia playing against a Nigeria or a Cameroon or whatever. It's not going to be easy. But then coming back to the current squad that we have, the key emphasis that I had before, especially on young players as well, is the discipline. I think throughout our season we had a good squad, experienced squad of a few youngsters here and there. I think we need to grind in that discipline, especially off the field, and then players need to realize that it's bigger than who you are as a player. Even me that has achieved so much in local football, I think when it comes to CAF competitions, it's not going to be easy, because I was there with Black Africa when we played Kaizer Chiefs. We went there to Johannesburg thinking it's going to be, since we were running all over the teams here in Namibia, it's going to be easy, and then Chiefs showed us flames. But then, obviously, when we came back to Windhoek at the Independence Stadium, it was another story. We picked up our socks, and then that game we drew 1-1. I was the one that scored that game as well. So I have the experience of playing there, but that was many, many years ago. So they say you're only as good as your last game. So I can't be talking about the game that happened in 2014, because we are in 2023 now. So I think we have to work on a lot of things as a team, and then from there we can take it one day at a time.
And some say the team is aging, but I don't believe. I think there's a very good blend of experience and youth. Senior players, are they going to be kept on the team, or are they also ready? Do you think their legs will carry them in those difficult pitches of Africa?
Yeah, football is a thing. It's not only about the age. With age comes experience as well. If you look at our current captain, he used to be my captain at the national team as well, Ronald Kanalelo. If you look at, he almost played 90% or more than 90% of the games throughout the season, which is almost 28 games. And if you look at how he played, 90 minutes, all the games that he played, he was never substituted besides the games that he was suspended with yellow cards. He still has the energy. If a man if he can run on like that on the age of 36 or 37, not sure which it is, it must be a motivation for the younger boys as well, and for the rest of us, which is also above 30. Like I said, it's not only about the age. As long as you are mentally fit, mentally strong, and then with that comes the injury-free part. If you are injury-free, you can push.
Yeah, whenever I used to go and watch, I'm a BA fan, but when I watch Stars games, whenever Kashiere create, then the fans go Ongehama, and when you get the ball, they say that's it. They are on the edge, almost what Ronaldo was saying. He was saying there are players who keep you on the edge, and they are those ones who make you nostalgic. Yeah. So it's those different effects. Yeah. You played in a new position through this season, and you excelled brilliantly, 10 out of 10. Thanks for giving us a great season. As football fans, that's what we want to see week in and week out. How was that experience for you? I mean, good players. When you're a good player, you can even play goalkeeper.
Yeah. It was something that was not familiar for me, because when I went to Finland, we played the 4-3-3 system. So basically, we didn't have wingers there. So I was converted into an attacking midfielder inside, not as a striker up front. So that's where I started to realize that I can play in the pressure, especially in the midfield. So after I came back from Zambia, the coach told us, no, since we have a good attacking set of players, we need to play a system where he can accommodate all of us. So we had to change from a normal 4 at the back to 3 at the back, and then 5 in the middle, and then 2 up front. So the first game or 2, I played in the midfield as a number 10. But then there was a young boy, his name, the Kamatuka boy, Edma Chulu. Because those 2 games, he was on the bench. He was a bit frustrated. So I saw the boy is not himself, because I know what he's got. So I asked the coach, since the position that I'm playing, the boy is also playing there, let's try something out. Let me move up a bit, and then he comes in there, and then just for 1 game, if it doesn't work, then I'll push the boy to compete with me, or we can compete for that same position. But then after I moved up front, the first game that I played as a second striker around our main striker, that's the game I scored a hat-trick. So from there, the coach was like, okay, the boy is also doing good in his position, you are doing good there. So let's see how far we can get with the 2 of you playing there.
Yeah, Awilo, with that great season, and you did well, in fact, in that position. It's something. The way you did it is like you've been playing it all your career. But with that kind of season, almost everybody agrees. I can see every footballer agrees, but football is football, that you must be in the national team. Obviously, the coaches see it different. Yeah. You announced your retirement recently. But your retirement in some football circles is deemed as a decision out of frustration, and it is hasty. should you get a call up, would you reconsider that?
Yeah, to start with the retirement issue, I think most people think it was hasty, like you said, or emotional at the time. But then the reason why I decided, no, let me step back was there was two call-ups. The one from the Cameroon game, so there was a reason that the coach gave. I'm not running enough. So that one I understood. Okay, it's fine. Since the position that I play, it only requires me to be in the box, score the goals, and that's what I was doing. And then the second call came because at the first interview he was asked why I was not there. He said no. He doesn't give me the running thing that I want, but there's COSAFA games and CHAN games that's coming. Let him keep scoring and then I can call him for those games. And then I kept scoring, the COSAFA games came, and then he changed his reason to, he can't have two 30-year-olds while a boy, a 21-year-old or a 20-year-old must be at home. So for me it was just like, you said I must keep scoring. That's what I did. Now you are changing your reason again to a 30-year-old or whatever the case may be. But I respect his decision. Like I said, it was a bit emotional from my side as well. But the boys that are there, they can do the job as well. The youngsters, the Prince, Chulu, them, even the Peter Chalulile, them, they are still doing a good job. It's not like I'm the one that's making the team win or I'll make the team lose or whatever. I will support the team from whenever they are playing if I'm not around. But like I said, if the call comes from the coach himself, or if he asks me, no, let's talk about, yeah, I'll definitely honor the call, because who doesn't want to honor a call that comes from the country?
I think that is good news for the Namibian nation, because other than biased views, I just think the general football fan thinks if somebody merits a call up, he should be in. But there are rumors. Football has rumors. There are football platforms. Some rumors claim that your omission is because of the fallout you had with assistant coach Ronnie Kanalelo, or it might be you standing up for players in Dubai. You were not the only player then. There were 4 senior players alongside you that are in the team now, but you are the one that's not there. So is there any truth to that you might have had a fallout with assistant coach Ronnie Kanalelo that may contribute to?
I won't say I had a fallout with Ronnie, because even when Ronnie came to Black Africa, there were certain things that we didn't agree on. And then there was a time I wanted to leave PA when he came. But then me and the coach, we had a meeting, and then he told me, no, I know the type of player you are. And I also told him, I know the type of coach you are. And then our difference was aside, and then we did good in that season as well. I think we came second. But besides that, the Dubai issue, I don't think we had an outfall or whatever the rumors may be. Even a few days ago, I texted him about this issue that people think there must be something between me and the national selectors. And I told him, from my side, I don't think there's anything that I have against you, whether I was selected or not. And then he even replied and said, no, he knows me and I know him. There's nothing between us. There's no bad blood between us. It's just people out there, Awilo fans or Awilo haters, those ones having those talks. So for me, I must just keep my head level and then, keep on pushing. That's what he told me. So I don't think there's something between me and Ronnie. As much as I may be an arrogant player like many people think, or even himself or whatever, even if the coaches think I'm an arrogant player, I know when to be arrogant and when not to be. But the respect was always there, and the respect will always be there for the coaches.
In the beginning of this concluded season, Awilo, and you are not even going to argue with me, I saw you were at our training ground, Black Africa, before the season started. That's before Stars offered you. Fast forward, the season is over. Black Africa is down. This is when I look at the names that I mentioned before, players that came from the south. Many players that came from the south, from your neighborhood or from your relatives. The first option is Black Africa. So this might have hit you. How does the relegation? How did you take it? How do you see it? Did it make you feel in some sort of way to see Black Africa relegated?
Yeah, it was a team that gave me the breakthrough into local football. So for me, it was sad to see not just the relegation part. The way the team was doing throughout the season. The players that they signed, I don't know whether it was money issues where big name players or good quality players couldn't go there or did not go there. But the way they were playing throughout the season, even the game we played against them, the first leg game, it was a Derby Stars BA. But the way those players, they were not like back in the days whenever we used to play African Stars or Pirates or Tigers or the big three. We stepped up our game when it comes to those teams. But now when we played them, it was like, we already know Stars has a lot of good players. We had defeated way before the game started. And that's where I saw, if they don't pull up their socks, it's gonna be one hell of a ride for them. And then that was the end result when the season ended. But for me personally, it was heartbroken when the team went down. So I just hope and pray they get investors or whatever it may be, take a lot of good quality players to the first division and then bring the team back to where it belongs.
Why did you not sign in the beginning of the season? You were training there.
It was a matter of ambition that Stars had before. Yeah, at the time, it was me going back to BA or not Stars. Stars was not an option. Going back to BA, but then as I met the coach, our Maka, I met him once somewhere there in Soweto, and then he was like, okay, this is the project that we as Stars are planning. Winning the league, going to CAF. So he told me this is the ambitions that the team is having, and so if he has a good quality players, it's achievable. And then the one thing that I can humbly or proudly say is the influence that I have on a lot of players in local football. Many players look up to me. After I started training with African Stars, it was only the under 21s and a few senior players that was there. And then as soon as people realized I'm there, many great players started coming there, the likes of Dynamo, Lucky them, even Jocelyn when he was on the other side. When he just heard I signed for Stars, and then he was still waiting for an offer. They said things didn't materialize. He said, no, let's go to Stars, let's go do the job. And then, like we said, the ambitions were there to play the CAF. So many players joined me or joined Stars, and then that's how we ended up at Stars.
Talk about Stars, and before we conclude, let's just quickly have a 1-2 about your teammates. Who is the best dancer?
I think it must be Dynamo because
he likes dancing.
He likes not to say dancing, but he's the music guy. He's always 2-3 steps ahead when it comes to new music, and when it comes to the Amapiano, the music that the young ones are listening to. I think he's 2 steps ahead, so he must be also ahead of the dance moves. Some of us can move here and there, but Dynamo is the one that always has the moves.
Yeah, I saw him when you were celebrating, was even trying Ovirisha moves. Best singer?
Singer, yo. Because throughout the season, I think we didn't sing a lot, the team, but...
But funny enough, Stars does not sing.
Yes. Even it was only the last game that we had 2-3 songs, but normally whenever the Black Africa or the national team, all the players that I played with, we used to sing, but funny enough, like you said, at Stars, they don't really sing.
They don't really sing, so there's no best singer?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Even Petit, he doesn't sing, because
no,
I know you used to...
No, Pet doesn't even say anything.
Funniest guy?
Funniest guy must be Emmanuel Hater, Lucky Hater.
Okay.
That's a funny guy.
Funniest moment of the season?
Funniest moment of the season? Yeah, now I have to dig deep into my
memory.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one you recall, recent one.
The funniest moment must be for me, it was the Young African game, the second leg game. As much as it was heated up, I think especially after the game, we won 1-0 over a penalty that I scored. The way the Young African fans were on my case, like they were like, oh, this boy, we need to beat him. They were swearing all kinds of things in Herero, which I understand. So I was like, it was not even that I was the one that caused the penalty or made the penalty. I just got what I got. So now they were all over me, trying to say all kinds of things, trying to beat me and those kind of things. But for me, it was just funny. Like it was and that thing came like the last few minutes of the game. It was a good game, one of the best games that I played this season. So I don't know why it was funny for me, but that was the funniest moment where the crowd wanted to beat me.
Best motivator?
The best motivator must be Jocelyn. I think as much as he's a good friend of mine, he's someone that's dedicated to football. When as much as we play the same position or whatever, people are thinking, why should he be in the national team? Why am I not there? He's a good friend, and he's always, even with that instance, he even told me that I deserve it more than he does, and that's something that that's something that I told myself. This is someone that I must keep as a friend. Imagine someone that's in the team telling me he doesn't deserve it and I deserve it. I think that's someone that I must keep by my side throughout my life, and then he will always be there. And I would really like to thank him for always pushing me whenever I'm a bit down. Yeah.
Talking about motivation, players that played with you, my good friend Heine Isaacs and Brian Bandam tell you, you are also one of the best motivators they have played with you. Always encourage the players. So I want to, in closing, just want to ask you, what are your plans outside football when your career is done? And seeing that you are going into Africa, should the chance arise that, because you are not done, you are just 32, should the plan arise to go abroad again, would you take that chance? And what motivation do you have for upcoming players, especially those ones from area teams like your former team FedEx? Is the team still existent, FedEx?
Just to answer the FedEx one, I don't think FedEx is still existing, because when we were promoted to the Premier League, or when they were promoted to the Premier League, I think the owner died in a car accident, and then after that we were only there in the Premiership for one season, and then we were relegated. But the team was still there, moving here and there, with his wife taking over from him. Everything was going well, but then after it was relegated again to the second division, I think that's where the wife, or the owner at the time, she also lost interest of football. So that's where the team was dismantled. Yeah, and then coming back to the two players that you mentioned, Brian Bantam and Heine Isaacs. To start off with Brian Bantam, I think that's the player that I must take off my hat for. There was a time I wanted to give up football, because, coming from the south, as much as I have a lot of siblings, to get a place here in Windhoek was tough at the time. And then he was the one that took me in, and then I stayed with him for almost half of the season, the second leg, and then that's where we won the first season with PA. So from there, I got my furniture, got my own place, and then from there, I must say, Brian Bandam is the one that I really looked up to back in the day, and still do. And then Heine Isaacs, I can only describe him in one word: the most disciplined player I've played with. The most disciplined. There was even a time in the Premiership, Heine, without being a main striker, he was also a top goal scorer with the exact same goals that I have, 20 goals.
But he says it's 28.
obviously, because I also reached the 20 mark. But then, like I said, Heine is one of the most disciplined players that I've played with. Someone that many youngsters must look up to, but obviously they don't know his football. When he played in, is it Denmark? Denmark, yes. Even his career in Marisburg, he was doing good there. Yeah, and then coming back to the future plans. Obviously, for now, still a bit early to say what the future plans is, especially life after football. Like you said, I'm still 32. There's these CAF games coming up, and then even now, after the season ended, there was interest from clubs in South Africa where they wanted me for trial, but then they said, okay, since they are ending now as well, let's see if the pre-season comes up, then maybe I can go join for trial or whatever it may be. Yeah, and then from my side,
are you going to join the trial?
We'll see. We'll see how I feel at the time. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll see. But then the motivation for younger players, or a few words of encouragement for younger players out there. They say hard work beats talent, but for me, I feel it's something that goes hand in hand. Because you will find many talented players that makes it, and players that are working hard that doesn't make it, and then the other way around as well. Players that are talented that doesn't make it, and players that's working hard that makes it. So it's a bit of a thing of, it goes hand in hand. So from my side, like I started off with the discipline part, just be disciplined. The boys must keep their heads level, especially when they start making national team calls, or they get the calls, they get big-headed, and then that's where they feel like they are untouchable, and then that's where the discipline is going the wrong direction. So from my side, they just need to be disciplined, and then keep moving, and then keep striving for the best.
Awilo, Thanks for coming. Next time you come, I hope we will have the trophy of the top goal scorer and the player of the season one. Thank you for coming.
All right, sure. Thanks,
Yeah,
Mega.
thanks, my guy.
Salute.